Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the closet. Welcome back to the Christopher Moon thing, and welcome to just a little story about myself. I wanted to, I'm gonna get this down a little bit, but I wanted to tell a story about, what really got me, what got me into the mess that I was drinking so much, that I was drugging, that I was just wiling out. And what it was is, pretty common, pretty easy. It's kind of the stuff that everybody gets caught up in life. But for me, I can only tell it from my perspective. And from my perspective, it kind of all started back once I was in high school, back once I was in middle school, back once I was a little kid. And you're coming up into life, and you're watching all these other kids around you, bigger, smaller, on television. There's just lots of things to see as a young person, and we all want to fit in, and I think that was the biggest thing that got me, was trying to fit in, because once I finally got to high school, school was already a real tough place for people, unless you're one of the popular people. And if you were one of the popular people, then that's probably where this story leads, because there was a lot of popular people at my schools. There was a lot of people that I wanted to be like, I want to be like this guy, I want to look like this dude, I want to, I wish I was that funny, and you just start chasing after things. And then the TV, it shows you what you should be wearing, what kind of person are you, what should you be wearing. I didn't ever get the Nikes and stuff, but back then I was wearing the Janko jeans and the Ben Davis shirts, and I just wanted to hang out with this group of kids that I thought was cool. And I picked up a lot of bad habits along the way, chasing after this group, chasing after popularity, being cool, acceptance. I don't know what to call it. I don't know what to call it all, but it was like some level of acceptance, and just having camaraderie with your peers. But I would chase after that, and to hang out with the group of kids I wanted to hang out with, they were all like the heavy metal stoner kids, so they were all smoking cigarettes and listen to rock music. So what I do, I started stealing cigarettes from my dad and smoking cigarettes and get my own, and being up in the line of sight of these kids that are always out there smoking and were so cool. And I'd kind of imitate, to the best of my ability, these kids, and I'd smoke. And then, that's how I started floating over and making friends, and then, I was finally with these cool kids. And, once you get with cool kids, along with the, back once I was growing up, I liked the heavy metal, but we also had it was very diverse. There was everything. But I remember Ice Cube and Korn had music together. There's a lot of blending of music. So we would listen to a lot of rap too. But in all the music, it didn't matter if it was metal, rap, pop, it was all talking about doing drugs. It was all talking about drinking. It was all talking about, coitus. It was talking about, all kinds of stuff. And that's the stuff that we all thought was cool. Oh yeah, this is cool. We gotta, do the same thing. They're sipping on some scissor, I'm sipping on some scissor, and I'd go out and get the stuff and make it. We were resourceful back then, and it wasn't a good thing. It wasn't a good thing, because that stuff was pumped into all of our little minds, and we all thought it was cool. And I was chasing after this group, trying to be cool. They, were listening to and under the same influences, but they were cooler than me, and they would offer me things like, hey, Chris, you want to try some of this? Do you want to try one of these? Do you want to try some of this? Like, and I'd be game for that stuff because it's in all the music. It was in pop culture. It was on the tongues and lips of all my friends. They were always talking about it. That's what they were doing that weekend. So that's what I was doing. And that's kind of like how it all started for me, I would say. It was a place of low self-esteem, low self-worth, you know? Low self-worth and wanting to fit in at a young age and not knowing any better because I was so young and undeveloped and dumb and like developing at the time and doing that shit. Like, you know, come on, that ain't good. You can tell by looking at me. You know, that stuff doesn't make you, you know, super smart, super anything once you grow up in the future. It does give you good stories. It gives you a lot of adventures. But that's not really how most people in society work, you know? You can't make money off of that stuff. Well, you can, maybe. Maybe you can, I don't know. But that's kind of what got me in and pulled me into like all the drugs and all that stuff. And then one day, in a way it was not back during school. It was well after this gray matter was able to grow a little bit more as I got a little bit older, but I was still, you know, pouring that poison in there. So, but it did take me a while to get to a place where I was like, I don't like this, you know? This isn't what I like. I don't feel good. This isn't what I was sold when she told me how cool these drugs were. And then that did two things. It did two things for me. One made me like kind of a resentful, nasty kind of person towards like my friends and all these people that I had chased after my whole life to impress, to befriend, to try, you know, to try and get with this group of people. And then once I was feeling bad and just gross with all the addiction that I had put myself through, I couldn't even blame myself. I couldn't even blame myself. I needed to blame them. I needed to blame the kids, the children that I chased after once I was in high school and begging for their acceptance. I started to resent people like that. I resented those kids because they introduced me to it. I resented the friends I met later in life that, you know, introduced me to this or that, you know, the harder stuff. I resented everybody. Like, it was just a nasty place. And was it their fault? They got duped just like I did. They did the duping of me, so I'm no better, I'm no smarter. But we all went through the same thing. It was just a different face, a different person. You know, we all got the same path, the same story. We start doing this shit and we realize that it's taking everything. You know, we used to take from that experience and have fun. But then the drugs, that experience, it just takes everything. And I needed to look back and say, you know, I was very like resentful and like I would hold a lot of angst and a lot of like anger towards like those groups once I was younger. Like, oh, it was their fault. It was this person's fault. It was this person's. But it was never until I felt bad enough, once I hit that bottom, and I said, you know what? No, that's stupid. It's not their fault. It's not his fault. It's not her fault. It's not anybody's fault other than my own. Well, actually, if I could blame it on somebody, I'd blame it on those pharmaceutical companies and those doctors that just give it out like candy. And the greed of the world and the people making it, you know, in other places and shipping it over. Like, there's a lot of stuff that like doesn't need to be here, that we don't need to be talking about, that we just have to talk about it because they have flooded our environments and we grew up with it. And now this is the consequences of. So I still can't even get mad at that. All I can do, the only thing I can change in this world is me. The only person I can get mad at, the only person I should get mad at is me. Because I'm the only one that can pick up the thing and do it. I'm the only one that can make the choice and go. And now there's a point where I'm no longer making the choices, where the drugs are making the choices for me, the drink is making the choices for me. I'm just wilding out and crazy and loud and mad, and there's nothing behind here. I can look at you, but there wouldn't be anything behind here. I'd be talking, and it's just that alcohol, those drugs, like, they take that light away. They take you away. They take that light away. And once you realize that, like, you know, it's time to put in some work. And to put in work, you got to suffer, you know. You got to suffer through. You did all the fun stuff. You did all the easy stuff. You've blamed everybody. I did. But the only thing that could get me out was myself. And the only way I could get out was not the same way I got in. That was easy. That was like a slip and slide into the amusement park. Nah, this time I needed to crawl through the mud. I needed to crawl out of that pit. I needed to crawl out of that pit and be reborn as a normal person. Because once you are stuck on these drugs, stuck on that alcohol, stuck on anything, addiction is terrible. You're stuck in the mud, like you're stuck down in a rut. You got to pull yourself out. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be fun. You know, I had the shakes, I had the sweats, I had everything. Mostly I had determination, and I had this pillow that I'd just pull over my head and just grit my teeth and just bear it on those nights that were unbearable. And that's what it was. That's what it took. It wasn't fun. It wasn't easy, but it's something that needed to happen. And it's something that I'm eternally grateful to myself for doing. And you know, that's something that nobody really does. We don't thank ourselves enough. We don't give ourselves enough credit. But you can do it. You can do anything. If I did it, hell, I could do anything. That's about the hardest thing there is to do. In my opinion, anyway. I haven't done a lot of things. I haven't done a lot of things out there. But out of the things I've done, I would say quitting drugs and alcohol was a pretty big accomplishment in this guy's book. In my story, I really appreciate that, sir. Thank you. But, you know, that's just a little story, a little show and tell, a little something, you know, I thought I'd share. But anyway, I hope you guys are having a great day. You know, I hope you're not at a place where things are feeling as nasty and you have to put yourself into misery. I hope you're well past that. I hope you never come to that point. But if you do, we're with you. We're with you. You're not alone. There's plenty of help out there. Plenty of kind words. Plenty of kind people. If I did it, I know you can. But that's all I got today for this little talk. I love you guys. You have a good one.